The first shade that I'm going to apply underneath my brow bone is called White Lies. It's just a basic white eyeshadow and I'm applying it with a Morphe M210 brush right underneath the highest point of my eyebrow. Now I'm applying a shade from Anastasia Beverly Hills in my crease. This shade is called Nude. It's a cool tone brown shade and I'm using it as my transition shade. I'm blending this in my crease back and forth using a Sigma E40 brush. Now I'm applying the Makeup Geek Stealed eyeshadow in my crease. It's a it's just a simple grey shade and it's matte. And I'm applying this in my crease using a Morphe M505 brush. And I'm going to blend this right underneath the nude eyeshadow that I just blended in my crease. Because it's a very pigmented and dark shade, I went very carefully with my brush in the eyeshadow to make sure there wasn't very much product on the brush. So just be careful with this shade. Just tap your brush in the eyeshadow, make sure that you tap off the excess eyeshadow so you got a tiny amount left on the brush and then you go softly blending it in the crease. And when you think you have blended enough, you just pick up a bit more of the product to intensify the shade in your crease, and so you're just building up the eyeshadow shades. I took a other blending brush which I haven't used yet and I applied a bit of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nude eyeshadow on it. And I'm just going to make sure that the edges are all soft and blended out well. I am using a eyeshadow from Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Metal. To apply this eyeshadow on my eyelid, I'm using a Suiva 237 brush. It's a very tiny brush which I really like to use to apply eyeshadows on my eyelid or to blend them out. And I'm just pressing it on my eyelids. I make my brush a bit wet using the primer water from Smashbox. Just make sure that your brush is wet and then you go in the eyeshadow and it will give a very metallic finish, which I really like. I'm going back in with the Makeup Geek Stealed eyeshadow and I'm using the Morphe M506 brush to blend out the shade around the edges of the metal eyeshadow. This will just make sure that the metal eyeshadow will fade with all the other shades. Now I'm using the shade Midnight. This shade is also from Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's a very intense black shade with tiny silvery glitters inside. I'm using a brush which looks very much like the Suiva brush that I just used, and this comes in the Makeup Addiction Ultimate Eye Kit. I'm just applying this shade right next to the metal shade and I'm making sure that I use blending motions to blend the metal shade with the Midnight shade. To intensify the outer parts even more, I'm going back in with the Noir eyeshadow from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I'm using my Morphe M506 brush to blend this shade at the outer part of my eyelid. And again, be careful with this shade, it's very intense and just pick up a bit of the shade, and if you want more you can always pick up more, but start with using a tiny bit. Now, to make sure that the black eyeshadow is blended out well with the rest, I'm going back in with the Stealth eyeshadow from Makeup Geek, and I'm just going to blend this shade at the edges. And I'm using a Sigma E32 brush for this. Now I'm removing my sticky tape, and you can see that it leaves me with a very sharp line, and you can see all the eyeshadows are very nice faded together. Now for in my waterline, I'm using the Benefit They're Real Push-Up Liner. I'm just going to apply this in my waterline. I applied my eyeliner off camera. I got a separate video on how to apply eyeliner. I will link it down in the description bar. I'm going back in with the Noir eyeshadow from Anastasia Beverly, and I'm applying this right underneath the lash line using a Sigma E15 brush. Once again, I'm going back in with the Stealth eyeshadow from Makeup Geek Cosmetics, and I'm using a brush from the brand Makeup Addiction Cosmetics. It also comes in the Ultimate Eye Kit, which I was talking about before, and I just make sure that the black and the grey eyeshadow right underneath my bottom lashes will fade together. To make my inner corner more pointy, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeliner brush in the number 3. For my bottom lashes, I'm using the MAC Giga Black Lash Mascara, and I'm also applying this at my upper lashes, but I'm only applying a very thin coat because I'm applying some fake eyelashes. For my lashes, I'm using the Vegas Nay eyelashes in the style Grand Glamor by the brand Eyelure. I used them in my previous 2 videos, so they're just very pretty, fluffy, big, and they give just the right volume. and this is the finished result. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you have learned something from it, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!